want to talk about with, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, like with rap becoming the most popular genre in the world, quote unquote. As creators, we rap here. We all rap. So do you ever feel hindered in your artistry because of the way you create? Because it's almost become a microwave culture because of how popular rap has become. So you have to either continue to make something quickly and churn it out. And I feel like as the creators I see sitting here, we don't just churn out music that way. You know what I mean? It's just a more of a creative process. But now it feels like if you don't put something out every few months, a new song, a new EP, a new project, it almost feels like you might get lost in the quote unquote shuffle of things. So do you feel like that ever either harms your creative process because you try to put too much out, or it deters you from creating the way you want to create?
You know, my homie, this is a long time ago, he was on, do you remember when Sway used to do those things where he would have, like how Joey Badass was on it? You know, he used to like do the live stream with the artist there, and the artist would come in on live. So one of my homies got picked to do the live at this time, right? And this is probably like 2011 or something. And Joe Budden, ironically, was the guy in studio with Sway. And my homie was like, yeah, man, like I put out 5 albums this year. And I got a mixtape coming out like pretty soon. And he was like,
was your buddy Master P?
Huh?
Was your buddy Master P?
Nah. Yeah. But his exact words to him, he was just like, dang, so you got 6 pieces of music out right now? And I haven't heard of you, and you put out 6 albums this year? He's like, you need to stop working so hard and start working smarter.
Yeah.
And that, just chiming in and watching that, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Like,
but when that happened, I was just like, you know, that moment stuck with me, and hearing you describe that brought that memory back, because it's like, you have to work smart enough to know that the time that you're taking into your body of work is going to prevail. And if you share or spare any thoughts on anything else, then you already have lost yourself in the shuffle. So you need to, like, for me personally, like for artists who experience that, like my advice is just like, I know it's easy for that kind of thought process to sneak in because everything happens like this. But it's just like, if you recognize that everything happens like that, it's best that you do the opposite. Like, you know, shout out to my homie M16. He was like, I rock with Cam because he was like, when people go left, I go right. And that's always, I never really made that assessment of myself that much, but I do move in that way of like, you know, if too much is happening over there, I don't want to be over there.
Yeah.
It's too much already. Like, I want to set a precedent of my own terms so that it's not to be confused with what's going on elsewhere. I don't want people to hear something I'm making and be like, oh, that sounds like this, or you trying to be like that. Like, it's best to take your time so that you know when the timing is right, it's best when to strike. And you know, like, that will be your time, but you have to take time observing and watching what's going on. So it's like a little bit of both. You got to watch the shuffle and also wait for your time and when it's going to be best for you. And also, you know, figure out ways to separate yourself from the herd.
I think everybody has their time underneath the sun going with that.
True.
I'm fresh into this, so I think my observation is take your time. Don't rush things, because I feel like so many people are putting so much out there, but like you said, it gets lost in it. And to be able to say that you put 5 to 6 albums out, like legit albums, yet you're not known. I mean, obviously there's different levels to being known, but I just think there needs to be, at least in my opinion, some standard of, I'm gonna hold myself here before I let anything else. But at the same time, it's like you don't want to oversaturate your own audience, because then they might get bored. Then they'll be like, oh, another project, another one. I haven't even finished or enjoyed this one. I think you don't give it enough time to sit and relax and them to enjoy it.
And that's exactly true. And like we were saying, like with the saying like music in the microwave, like the amount of time and preparation you put into it is what you're gonna get out of it. So if you make music in the microwave, what do you do with food you get out the microwave? You throw it away right after. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no dishes to clean. There's no, you know. And for artists who make a lot of, you know, a lot of music, and then they don't have the follow through to wash every dish that you use to make your whole thing, then there's no videos, then there's no content, there's no interviews, there's no, you know, you just did something in the microwave real quick, threw it away, no mess, no stress. And it's like, you got to do the work, make the mess.
Something where you still you see it. I think what you just said, you see the bundle of it all, but then you step back and then you create it when you're ready to put yours out.
I just feel like timing is a big part of everything. Everyone has their own divine time, and it really comes with being very self-aware and knowing like, okay, this is a good time. This feels right. And no one, there's no way to really quantify that and tell you when it's right and like, what to look for. But when you've taken time working on a piece of work and it's ready and it's finished, you'll know. But you got to take that time to do one or the other. You can't. It's hard to like, I've in my younger artist years, I put a release date out before the project was done, and then was like trying to rush to do both at the same time. And it's just like you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta take time, like because nobody told you to say that, but you.
The streets waiting, no, they not.
But you told, like you put, it's good to put dates on yourself and stuff like that. But those are personal things. Like put a personal date of when. All right, now if I'm not done by this date, then that's it. Like this is the cutoff point because I want it out by this time. It's all about taking the time and the planning, having the time to strike. If you've taken time on your whole body of work, like that means that you should have taken time with the follow through as well.
That's true.
It's way more than just like, it's never, honestly, it's never been just like, click and it's on and it's out. You know what I'm saying? And SoundCloud and I'm out. Like, bow. It's not.
There's a lot too. Ooh, everything's falling apart.
It's never that simple though. It's never that easy. You got to take the time. It's that's my OG told me a long time ago. Music industry, 10% of it is the making of the music. And if you can't manage to do that 10%, then you gotta take some more time. Like be able to make music the way you want to. Not saying you gotta churn it out, but create a rhythm, create a routine for yourself when you're creating your music, so that when the muse comes, you're ready because you've been doing it that way. Like that's what works for you. But it's just nothing quick ever fixes it.
Someone told me this. He said it's like you got to know when it's practice and when it's game time. Keep going through it all. Keep doing it, but just know the difference between when it's time to go. It's game time, and that really clicked with me because I would always like try to do something, but then my friend K Ciro, he's like, bro, you need to sit down and listen to yourself now and digest your own work now, and then grow from that. Don't just keep putting things out. Learn about yourself as an artist, and then you're gonna hear yourself more. Then you go like, I don't like this, I don't like that. So that's one thing someone else taught me about learning how to put out music and when not to put out music, because I think you should always be working on it, whether that's writing, whether that's going over your flow, whether because you just put out a new video, you're working on a new album, you both guys stay working.
Yeah, man.
And I noticed that it's more than just the music component, because there's the content, then there's the music videos, then there's the interviews, there's these podcasts that are a part of it all. So yeah, I think you should always be working towards something in that artistry, even if it's not putting out music and just uploading things. It should always be something different.
Oh yeah, because you can always keep yourself quote unquote relevant or seen without even putting out any music whatsoever.
You really can.
Yeah.
So you don't have to just. That was my mistake early on. Was just like, man, I ain't put out nothing in like 6 months. I'm out here tripping. Like when I was younger, like I had to drop a mixtape or something. I got to give them the bars. Like it wasn't even necessary. Like nobody needed that. Like, I could have been doing a lot of other things.
Dropped 10 minutes ago. I gotta put something new.
Man, I need to give them. Let me give them the freestyle. Let me give them the celebratory freestyle. Like they don't need that. You know what I mean? You just have to find ways, and that's sometimes, especially as me as an artist, I'm not very social. I'm very antisocial in a way. I'm an introvert, but I try to find ways to get out there and just talk to people. Just talk to people, have genuine conversations, not just out there to just promote yourself. Because by being a genuinely nice person and building relationships with people, and then if they realize, oh, you also make music, you're a talented individual, they're also more likely to support you in your artistry as well. So there's always ways to go about it. Just create great bodies of work, and then carry that body of work with you as you go around and meet new people and do different things of that nature. Film good videos, and make sure if you're don't just put out a project and then film a bad video. Don't do that either. Like,
yeah, I have an issue with that too.
Yeah,
me and my other homie were just talking about that. It's just when you take time to work on a project, like take time to, how, like the homie from Alpha Pup, Daddy Kev told me, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you work fast on your music, and then you may possibly work fast on your videos, because it's all about how you do one thing. You got to put that same amount of energy and effort into the follow through. It's like you can't go hard in practice and then be lax in the game. Like you got to do both things. Like, and for artists out there who I just got a problem with that. Like when, especially and I guess that kind of goes to my topic too. I didn't really know a topic yet, but I started it now. But it's like as technology advances and stuff like that, quality changes and aesthetics and stuff change. And if you just do some old subpar, like everybody can just, you know what I'm saying? Like we got phones or like phones could do so much.
They could film movies.
You can do a movie and everything. Like me personally, I want to see the work put into a good video because that's there's a lot of impact potential in a strong video, and I kind of don't pay attention to the ones that who don't have that caliber.
Would you say it's more of a lack of creativity than a lack of quality then? Because some people think.
No, I think people are creative. I feel like some people are. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I feel like it's kind of like with people take the time on their music, but they don't take time on their videos.
Right.
And I feel like artists need to do that. And I feel like I get it because the culture's telling you at least shoot a video, you know what I'm saying? At the very least, do that. But it's like now if everybody can do it, then you got to put more into it. Like if everybody can shoot a video. Don't let this little 10-year-old outdo you with their editing skills on their little phone. But you gotta go hard.
I think what I'm kind of going across is like you say, everybody could do it. It's like there's a setup for everything. You know what I mean? Like you got filters, you got all this and stuff. So that's like kind of dulls down like the real creative person, or not doesn't dulls them down, but like when somebody does come with something off the wall that you're not really used to, one or two things happen. It's either really really dope, or people are like, oh, I don't like it because I'm not used to that because it's like. It's different, you know what I mean? So like when you try to be extra creative, people think you're trying too hard, or you killed it. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a lot of artists out there who drop videos of like, I think it's pretty dope, and then other people are like, oh no, it's not the norm. It's not what I'm used to. It's not what I'm used to seeing. I mean, you're seeing this filter from Instagram on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like you got to walk the fine line between I'm trying to be really creative and go a different route, and then just seeming like you were just being lazy and trying to cut corners and trying to cut a budget.
Want some content real quick.
Yeah, you just wanted to cut the corners, cut out a budget, and you put out a concept that looks like you ever watch a video and go, this would have been so much doper if it was like X, Y, and Z behind it. Like you see what they wanted to make and they just, you know what I'm saying? They just kind of, they just got lazy, right?
It's like a good TV show with a great premise and great first episode, and then everything else is like, why did you do this?
Why you doing
what
this,
happened?
man? Like,
it was a great idea.
Yeah, like compact that in like 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And it happens a lot. Like there's a lot of artists who do that, and it's really annoying. Like you just got to take the time and cultivate it. And like Gnarly was saying, don't put a date out when you ain't done with your shit.
Don't do it.
Yeah, that's
don't do it.
That should honestly be the rule. No dates until you're done. No dates until it's done. If it's not done, like if I can't walk up to you and say, all right, press play. Yeah. Let me hear it.
Lisa told me, she's like, don't be thirsty. Don't be thirsty. Don't say anything.
You did bring up a good point earlier where you was like, you should put a timeline like on
yourself.
Yeah, on yourself. But like
don't hit Twitter up and be like, we 6 weeks away.
And then you put pressure on yourself because then you like, what if you ain't feeling it when you get to that date? Then it's not like not only are you sharing your advances with people, now you're sharing your follies with them too. And those are personal things that you should learn from. Like L's are easier to take when it's just you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when everybody's watching, it's harder to grasp the lesson because you just feel like, well, fuck,
like it used to make it made it harder for me to take constructive criticism because like, well, it's coming out next week. Yeah. Like, nah, you can't. Who said that? You said that. Nobody told you to say that. Like,
been there, man. I did.
Yeah, like
you gotta think about it now. It's like, hey, what an idiot. Why did I do that?
I feel like that's
so much stress and pressure.
Right? You just be bugging out.
Borderline depression. It's
like,
why did I do this?
What's supposed to come out tomorrow? I told everybody tomorrow.
And you want to press people, and then going back to like making videos. Communicate. There's a lot of really, really dope artists out here. I'm me personally. I draw inspiration from a lot of varying sources, but I love working with independent creators. I love working with people who got that vision. Now, sometimes when I make a song, I have a vision that accompanies it, and I'm like, this is how the video is gonna look. And a lot of times, I have no idea what a video is gonna look like, and if I do come with a video, it's stupid. Like other people have better ideas, and I accept that because that's their field and craft of choice. Like, there's people who sit right now just like, yo, you need a video? Because I got books and books of what's the word? See, I don't even know about videos like that.
Well, it's like it's a film
Treatments?
term. Yeah,
Treatments,
treatment.
that's what it is.
Yeah,
What is
Yeah.
it?
treatments.
Treatments,
what
a
is-
video
That's
treatment.
what they say. I wrote up a treatment for your
What
song.
it-
Like, so that's
How we're gonna treat this video.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know.
like
what
it's
that
like a concept,
means.
if you will. It's
Oh,
like
okay,
concepts.
cool.
on
That
concepts,
works. I was
yeah.
like treatment. I'm like,
Yeah. And then from after treatments, you go into like the storyboard
Storyboard.
change,
Yeah.
stages, where
Dream
they
boards, and they
do
actually
little
draw out
sketches
scene by
of what it's
scene.
gonna look like, or you get
Yeah.
they have like photog inspo of like, okay, and the scene's gonna look like this, or the scene's gonna look
Yeah.
like this, like
Pictures
you know,
from different.
That's what I
things,
shout out to Duke Visions and other people who have like shown me those processes and those steps. Like, those are the same steps I take when I'm putting together a project and trying to figure out where, what the thesis is and how it's going to look and what the feel and the texture is from this point A, B, and C. So for, when I'm working with videographers, for them to be able to do that and be able to like put it together in a really dope PDF that you can just open up and then just like,
Yeah.
this is what it's going to look like. This is the general texture and the feel. Like, I have such a respect for videographers and directors and creatives in that way. That's why I like, if I can't get a really good video, I'd rather there not be one.
Mm-hmm. I had to learn that lesson the hard way. I got some trash videos floating around out there. You can find them too.
Because if I start popping,
I'm on YouTube. Go look me up, baby. I got some good ones and some bad ones.
some trash out there.
Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Tell me it sucks. 'Cause It's
music
funny.
videos.
It's fun. I laugh at them now, but man, I thought I was on with these trash videos. I was shooting, boy.
But I feel that those content wars out here. So I feel y'all. Like, I get it.
Yeah, it's a rush to produce something.
And
new.
that's how
it's frustrating at times because it's like everybody not drowning, but I do feel like certain things get drowned out because someone puts out a project, someone else puts out a project, someone's uploading this picture, and then it's like then everybody's gonna start using studies the algorithm and puts different states, different cities, and hashtags this, hashtags that. And I'm
I
just
get
like,
anxiety.
Most of the people who be talking
bro.
about algorithms don't even know how to spell algorithm.
True.
actually,
But I personally, I know for a fact, I get I do a lot of shows and I acquire a lot of content sometimes and I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like I get anxiety about having to post stuff and stuff like that. And
It's a lot
I
of
really
times.
sign out of social media because it feels like everybody's fighting for the same
That
little bit of
moment.
stage.
But there's so much of the stage. That's the crazy
Yeah,
part.
and,
you know what I
and
mean?
it's not just posts anymore. Now it's like Insta stories. So every day somebody's like fighting to be who's the most positive, who's the most impactful, who's the most motivational,
all
who's the
that.
most
Come on, man.
drug, who got the most weed, who got the biggest
Yeah.
blunts, who got the most money. Like, and it's every single day. Like, like we were saying before, like being able to observe what's going on and recognize, like, you know what, I'm just gonna chill because right now it don't seem like the time for me to get out there. Like, it's just too crazy.
I feel like as soon as you embrace who you are, though, it all becomes so much easier. You know what I mean?
Yes. True.
Like I feel like that's when we all began to hit our strides.
Yeah,
in
definitely.
music and in everything else. Like the moment I was just like, look, I rap really good and I'm an asshole. So is this what we gonna do? I'm gonna be me. You know what I mean? And I make fun of myself. I might make fun of others sometimes, but it's all in fun. And I rap good. This is what I need to
It's all
embrace about
hip-hop,
me. You know what I
essentially.
mean? At the end of the day, like I'm as soon as you embrace who you are and accentuate that, it's almost like it's there's so many parallels, sadly, between pro wrestling and rap. It's crazy. But the greatest pro wrestlers are just themselves turned up to level 10.
because they're in that,
Embrace who you are.
they're in that
Macho
light.
Man?
Right? Hey, man, Macho Man was out of his goddamn mind. He
Cam,
stayed
you
perked
said
up.
something about feel like people forget that you need to be active outside of social media.
I mean, I agree.
To a degree.
To a degree, I agree, but like I'm an extrovert and introvert sometimes. So even when I'm out, I'm kind of still very reserved, and I'm the kind of person like I was raised to be cordial. I know how to be hospitable, even in the places that I've never been before. So it's like I'm very approachable. I'm very easygoing, but on the inside, it's it's a fucking war zone sometimes, and it's just about being able to maintain your energy. But like what Archer was saying to specify, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
like,
as I was saying.
but it's like
He's been referring to himself in third person.
Oh,
sometimes.
podcast.
It's
Yeah,
like you do have to, if you can align your personality with what it is that what you do, like some hip hop. You listen to Fonte's album, right?
Hell
And
yeah.
it's like what you do is not who you are. Who you are is how you do what it is that
Exactly.
you do. So it's like I've always been charismatic or easygoing or able to talk to everybody type of person. So when I started making music, that was that's just second nature kind of stuff. You know, the fact that I make music is just it's just something that I do, and my general energy and personality is really what opens a lot of doors for me. Like, you know, being able to rub shoulders with some of my favorite artists, or, you know, being able to sit across the table from them or collab on music. A lot of those things just come off like just serendipitous meetings one time or something like that. But it's just like, if you can align who you are and you have self-awareness of like, you know, what you do as a rapper is not necessarily who you are, you know. And I feel like, in relation back to our other topic, like, if somebody asks you who, you know, how you are, and the first thing you say is something about your rap career, something about that,
working,
you know
man.
what I'm saying? Like,
I do, man.
That's the, you know, for the people who are asking, I feel like there's two answers to that question. Like, for the people who are asking, take time to get beyond that coping mechanism when somebody says like, oh, how are you? And they say, oh, you know, work's good. And then, you know, a lot of people just kind of walk off after that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you said work's good, so it's all good.
Everything's great.
But, you know, that's not who you are.
Splendid.
That's just what you do. Like, I want to know how you really are.
That's the facade.
And then for the people who, you know, answer that question, like, hear yourself. Recognize that when you start talking about who you are, you start talking about what it is that you do in relation as if that's who you are. Like, nah, like, before you were, you know, before I was a Cam Gnarly, I was Cameron Grant. And I'm still Cameron Grant, so I have to wake up every day and maintain, you know, who I was born into this world to be. And, you know, everything else is just, you know, that's extra.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
it's
blessing.
being like almost the opposite of him, whereas he's more like, he's approachable, nice. He's got a nice smile. He's a nice guy. You know what I mean? I'll be in the back of every event, like, and people just think, hey, that nigga is angry. Like, if they see, I just have a very resting bitch face. So people just think I'm mad. But if you come up to me and talk to me, I'm very friendly. You know, I'm very nice. But
I've never thought you were mad before.
man, people be thinking that nigga mad right now.
We're both
It's
friendly.
just, I'm a friendly guy. It's just I create I think it's just something within my subconscious, and it's an exterior that people feel like they have to break
Yeah.
through, because I'm more
You
shy.
gotta
and
stop saying
reserved.
those things about yourself.
Yeah, I know, but it's funny.
But my homie told me that too. Like, I'm really still trying to get out of it because I'm not good at taking. I'm really bad at taking praise.
Facts.
I'm really bad at people saying like, "Oh, you're doing good," because you know,
It's a
and I'm a Virgo
feeling,
too,
right?
so I'm like
Yeah.
super. You know, I'm super perfectionist. I always want to excel. I always want to make sure that I'm. You know, not only am I just doing something, but to excel for me is essential. Like, I need to feel like I'm really making strides. And even when I am making strides and I'm not recognizing all the great things I'm doing, I can still be very self-deprecating. Like, I'll say something bad about myself, or somebody say something good and I say something bad about myself.
Yeah.
Like, I had a homie literally tell me, like, why do you always do that? Like, every time I try to tell you something tight about you, you always like
It's a habit.
say
I do the
something
same
bad.
shit.
But what he told me was,
Yeah.
he's like, it almost makes me not tell you stuff like that, because either one, I think you don't care, so I think you don't need it. And a lot of times I do need it. Like, you know, sometimes when I am going through that self-doubt or overthinking, you know, for me, overthinking is like second nature. I overthink all the time. And having to turn that off really comes with listening to my people when they tell me like, no, this is good, like, stop tripping. And sometimes I need that voice, but if I impede on that voice every time, then I'm gonna start to subconsciously believe it myself and make other people believe it too. Like, you know, I read a lot, and I read somewhere, I can't remember where, but it says, he was like, you know, what you say about yourself, your body immediately believes.
That's
You know,
very true.
And there's no other voice that your mind really, really trusts besides your own. So when you hear stuff say, you know, that's why they say like, oh, if you want to like motivate yourself to do stuff, record yourself saying stuff,
Yeah.
and then you listen to yourself hearing it because you trick your subconscious.
That positive affirmation.
Yeah,
Positive
yeah. But
affirmation.
because it's your voice, your subconscious listens to it and doesn't think that it's something else or a memory or something else. They think it's yourself talking to your own inner thoughts because it's your own voice. Hopefully, some people don't got the same voice.
Yeah, it was funny. I was just telling somebody, like, you ever get like, because I posted a video and it was getting a lot of love, and people just kept, you know, giving me compliments, and I was telling them thank you, but I felt like it was almost becoming redundant to the point that they wouldn't believe me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I have that subconscious, like, in my head, like, do they think I'm like, what if they think I don't, like, I'm taking it for granted?
Stop taking
Like,
it. Yeah, stop
I
taking that.
actually
I did
appreciate.
I did that before.
I actually appreciate what you're saying. I really do. I just don't know how to convey it.
No, there's
You know what I
only
mean?
there's
Like,
honestly there's only so many ways you could say it. If you're grateful, if it comes from a genuine grateful place,
Yeah.
that's what it is. I had to sit up yesterday. Yesterday was my birthday, and when I got home, my girl, she was like, "What you about to do?" I was like, "I'm about to go through these messages and say thank you to all these homies." Like,
Yeah.
and it's genuine, but I gotta say thank you. Like, I'm gonna just say thank you because it's just like I gotta say it. And I've been there before. Like when you put out a song and everybody's like, tight,
yes, it's so
hard,
tight.
dope. And I'm like, good looking. Thanks.
Yeah, like
Cool.
I feel like
Thanks,
I hope
guys.
they don't think I'm just posting this as like an auto reply. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I
Like
try to get creative with it. Like, depending on who says it, I try to always like bounce back and
personalize it.
personalize
I
it.
try to change up the
Oh, good looking,
emojis.
or
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
that's-
Like something, just so you know I mean it. Like I'm
that's
grateful.
authenticity.
Isn't it,
right
isn't, it,
there.
Yeah.
isn't it crazy? That's the world we live in right now. Where it's like you get self conscious about saying thank you over like a social media thing because and you don't
I don't
think
want
people-
them to
That's
think
because, I think it's because
Talk
you
about
read it.
It's because you're reading it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Because you're reading it.
yeah,
It's like same thing with text messages though. It's like I take text messages out of context all the time.
well, see, with the way I'm very satirical, I'm very dry, and my
Yeah.
humor and the way I respond to things, I always have to constantly tell people, listen, like you might read a text message, it might not sound, but just I'm not, you know, it's
That's
not
how
what you
I
think.
literally sometimes when I text something sarcastic, I put in parentheses he said sarcastically at the end.
You gotta emphasize.
Yeah.
You gotta emphasize.